6 golf clubs, 1 swing. This is a video that you need to see. I've had a lot of golfers asking me recently, Stuart, what is the difference in the golf swings as you move through the golf clubs? So today, I'm going to show you how to set up, how to swing, and the variability in the swing between all of the golf clubs. To start with, let's talk about the sand iron, and let's talk about the driver. We need to understand one thing when it comes to hitting a golf ball, and that is the energy of the golf swing will occur between your left ear, sternum, and your left shoulder, armpit. So we've got a window of this between the sternum and the armpit where we can create the most amount of energy. The reason why I reference that is because so often when people are playing wedge shots, they're putting the golf ball back in their stance. And when I see golfers with driver, invariably I rarely ever see them putting the ball too far forwards. It's invariably too far back. So to start with, when we set up to a pitching wedge, well, this is a 56, and we set up to a driver, first of all, we obviously can see there's a seriously big difference in length of shaft. But I want you to reference is the location of the handle in relation to my body. The handle is going to be, in both cases, inside my left leg. Depending on where the golf ball is, will either dictate a shaft lean that's leaning towards the target or a shaft lean that's leaning away from the target. But in both cases, the golf ball has never strayed further back in my stance than in the center. Speciality shots, we can have more of an opportunity to move them back in the stance. But for the lion's share of golf shots, never place the ball further back in the stance than the center. So when we set up to a wedge, and to give you some idea of the gap between these golf balls, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the spread from 56 degree lob wedge, call it what you will, the most lofty club in your bag, all the way up to driver. The width of stance for me, I don't really change it too much. Might go a little bit more narrow as I get down to the shorter clubs, but in the line share, I'll set up with the same width of stance. So when we're playing the wedge, you can see that that golf ball is just left of center. I've got my handle in line with my left leg, and at that point, I'm now going to make my golf swing in my usual way. Now, because of where I'm meeting that golf ball in my stance, that's going to deliver really quite a nice angle of attack. Now, if you followed enough of my content, you will understand that how we pull and swing the golf club. Let me just move those balls over there because TrackMan is not going to probably like it there. Bear with me. Lots of good content coming up in this video. So the golf ball, left ear, middle of my stance, handle is in line with my left leg, and then I pull and swing, and you can see that the angle of attack is 4.6 down. My path is 0.8 from the inside. Now, when you've got that much loft, of course, angles of attack can be steeper. So when I'm hitting my wedge, what I'm very conscious of is because of where I'm meeting it in the arc, my handle has lots of pull, lots of acceleration that creates that shaft lean. And because the ball is back, it allows me to have the angle of attack that is desired for a pitching wedge. Because my grip is correct, it means that the face is nicely lined up to the circle and I come out with a little draw. If I wanted to hit more down on that, I wouldn't move the ball further back. All I would do is create more acceleration with the handle, and then, because of that, I'm going to move around the ball even faster. And so what that'll end up producing is even more downstrike, a path that is still very neutral, and a face angle that is still closing to the path. And so you can see I didn't have to suddenly move my golf ball back. All I did was made sure that my grip pressure was super light. I pulled on the golf club and I moved my body around, which allowed me to pinch the golf ball, hit more down and trap it a little bit more. But you can see that my path line hasn't been sacrificed for it, and nor, just because I'm turning harder, has it made my face angle become more open. But that's because my grip is good. And when we understand that we create more lag and load, we then need to move the handle more around to square the face up. If you create more lag and load and you move the shaft along, the face will stay open. The reason why this is so important with the most lofted golf club is because I see all too often ball further back, standing open and getting yourself in a bit of a pickle. So keep the ball in the same position and start to use your levers a little bit differently. So let's move on to the 7-iron. So that was my pitching wedge or sand iron ball position. Now I'm going to drag this golf ball in. This is for my 7-iron shots. So the ball now moves between, you know, from a most lofted to a 7-iron, that's a decent amount of gap. That's your lob wedge, that's your sand iron, your pitching wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron. That is arguably, could be, as much as 6 golf clubs between this ball position and this ball position here. So incrementally, it's a feel thing. And so I can't give you an absolute exact, but it's flow state. You need to graduate it forwards. So now I'm into my 7-iron. Now all of a sudden I'm meeting it later in the arc, only by a golf ball. But down at the bottom, that all of a sudden doesn't make it feel quite in the same way that I would meet it earlier with my handle. So all of a sudden, when I'm down at strike here, I'm conscious that I'm still pulling the golf club, but what I'm not going to do is pinch it quite as much. And I did pinch that one quite a bit. That was 6 down, too much. So to get rid of a little bit of that, I'm going to feel a little bit of deacceleration of the handle. So I pull it, a bit of deacceleration at the handle, so the golf club can swing, but I'm going to keep moving around the golf ball. And so at that point, the club swung a little bit more, 3 degrees down, path pretty neutral, couple across it, a little bit open. I'm going to take that little Velcro thing off because it keeps on catching me in my backswing. And so at the bottom, I'm making exactly the same move in terms of how I'm moving the pressures in the handle, how the handle's lifting up, how it's moving down, how I'm using my feet, which you can see in so many of my videos, and 2 really good ones for handle pull and a good one for angle of attack. Go check those 2 videos out because they'll really help you out in pulling and swinging, which is what I'm talking about here in relation to the ball position. So the ball position now moves a bit further forwards. I'm still pulling, I'm still swinging down at the bottom. But if I did want to suddenly trap one, I'd pull it harder, I'd move more around, and all of a sudden I can now pinch it more. So I've hit down 5.4, path line is 1, and all of a sudden I've still got a draw, but it's a much lower one. If I wanted to hit down even more, I'd pull it even harder, turn even harder, and then I would really start to get some real pinched shots down at the bottom of the golf ball. 6.6, one path line, 0.9. If I then wanted to hit the golf ball a little bit higher, down at the bottom of the golf ball, I'm still going with my pole. I'm still gonna turn, but now all of a sudden, the stalling out of the handle is now allowing the club head to swing, which will now take away a lot of the angle of attack, which now makes the ball flight pop up, lighter angle of attack, still get a draw line, and the path still neutral. That was the 7-iron. Now when we come on to the 4-iron, let's roll that ball back in. So that was my 7-iron ball position. Knock those all together. Now roll this 4-iron in. Now all of a sudden, ball's a bit further forwards. Now I'm really going to start to feel this club swinging a little bit more on me because the ball's getting further up in the arc. The handle where it starts and where it meets the ball is starting to get closer to each other. So I'm going to start to feel a little bit more speed. And if you want to check out how you unload the golf club, I've done a great video on left hand release. Go check that out because that's a doozy, that one. So now I've got my 4-iron out. So down at the bottom of the ball here, I'm going to hit those balls. Down at the bottom of the ball here, I'm really starting to feel that swinging moment down at the bottom. So my angle of attack should drop down a little bit. It's going to swing. I've got a bit more stall in the handle, swing down at 3 degrees. So pretty much the same. Because I'm a low ball hitter, I am someone that really starts to feel the swing a bit more with longer clubs. And that's certainly something that is good for most people. So I'm really feeling how the club pulls, it swings down at the bottom with the longer club, which will allow me to get more ball flight, 2.4 down, pretty neutral. If I then wanted to trap one, same ball position again, I'm now going to feel like I can pull it, keep pulling it, keep turning, trap it and pinch it out there. So now I've pinched it more, really got down on it, flattened the ball flight out, and you can see 5 down. So you can see all I'm doing as I'm going forwards, this golf swing is absolutely staying the same. All I'm starting to do is modulate when the pull phase goes into the swing phase. So at the bottom, I'm just being very conscious of when the club needs to swing down at the bottom. And the longer the golf club gets, the more crucial that is, which is why most golfers, when they come to longer golf clubs, they don't understand that yes, the golf swing is exactly the same, but the dynamics down at strike actually changes. I thought I'd turn my microphone off then. And so down at the bottom of the golf ball, the golf club swinging is crucial to get this golf ball flighted. And that's why when we talk about weight in golf club, it's absolutely crucial when you get fitted that the weight is complementary to the pull and swing phase that you have in your golf swing, because everyone is different. So with my woods, as they move further forwards in the stance, I'm not trying to hit more up, I'm just trying to make the club swing more. You can see that a swinging golf club here compared to hitting up are 2 different patterns of movement. This is me trying to hit up on it. This is, or should I say, that's another person trying to hit up on it. That's me trying to hit up on it. And so the second creates lighter angles of attack, more swinging momentum, more flight, and you can see I actually managed to get up on that 1 degree. So that's the 3-wood. Then we come to the driver, and of course you'll have understood that as the balls have moved further forwards in the stance, I've managed to modulate the energy in the handle. So now when I get to my driver, Look at how the ball being further forwards and the handle back, but my handle's in the same spot as it was with every other golf club. But now, because it's back, now I'm allowing myself to feel like I can swing the head down at strike. And at that point, I can now start to get an up strike rather than a down strike, which creates that draw we're all looking for. If, however, I wanted to hit a lower shot, I could do exactly the same as I was doing with my pitching wedge back in my stance. I could now pull it and move around the ball and feel more acceleration with the handle, not allowing it to swing, allow me to turn through it, which will then create more angle of attack, much lower ball flight, 5 degrees down, which will hit that sort of low knuckleball. So in every case, this golf swing is exactly the same with the basic patterns of movement that I encourage. If you're tired of paying too much for premium leather golf gloves, do head over and check out my channel sponsor, GX Golf Gloves. These gloves are trusted by elite, amateurs and tour players alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% on your next order. Throughout my content, but how we manage the lever down at strike is the nugget, is the golden ticket to making you control the flight, control the shape, and control ultimately your ball striking. There is not a different swing for every club. There is a slightly different feel at strike for every single golf club, but it is absolutely one swing for all clubs and just a very different transition of power at strike for each club. I hope that has been super useful for you. Thank you so much for watching. And that, my friends, is good coaching.